Today, we're talking all about content creating, right? And I mean, this whole like online business thing, I mean, it's been going on for a while. And I think it's just about time that people start to um, share some of the secrets about how they're creating their content and how to do it in like less than 2 hours. So if we haven't met before, my name is Dawn Martinello. I am the owner of Insight and Velocity, where I support entrepreneurs who are passionate about creating a business and a life that they truly, truly love by making it as easy as possible for them to get their online presence out there to the world without sacrificing time with their family, their friends, or being glued to the screen 24 hours a day, even if they don't know what to do next, or even if they don't know what to start. So today we're going to talk about how the best content marketers on the planet are using this little love called Jarvis that makes creating the perfect content calendar so damn easy. By the end of it, you're going to know how to get loaded up with ideas. And maybe for the first time ever, you are going to be completely ahead of schedule, which is, for me, the biggest thing in the world. So let's get started. So we know that we have to create content. We know that's a need in our business, and that can be a video, a blog, a podcast. It doesn't really matter what it is. But the problem is you either run out of ideas, you don't really know what to write, you maybe think you're not a very good writer, you're not a creative kind of person. A lot of times people don't even get started because of all of those constant problems. But usually what happens is we get super excited about something, we get started, and then everything kind of falls apart. Right? We stop doing the things because it's too much work. Our kids need us, our family needs us, nothing's working out the way it's supposed to. We end up stopping all of those things. And it leaves you feeling super defeated. It starts to undermine your confidence. And the next thing you know, it's just nothing. And it spirals, right? That one little thing becomes the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And it all starts to just weigh on our shoulders, right? We can't move forward anymore. We start to make excuses. We start to, even though you don't even know that you're doing it, you're making excuses about why you can't do this or why you can't do that. Even when it doesn't feel like an excuse, that feeling that now we can't really do it that way. So sometimes it's just a little problem. Sometimes it's just you hopping from the next idea to the next. If you're very tenacious, you're going to keep doing it that way. But a lot of times what happens is it can actually crumple your entire business. So for a lot of home-based businesses who try different things, this is why you see people closing down their companies, starting with somebody else. Network marketers are famous for that, constantly trying the next thing and blaming everything but themselves. Now, sometimes the ideas that you have are just not very good. Sometimes you just need a little bit of help getting your kind of baby out into the world. And that's kind of what we want to do today. What I feel like people need the most is a simple framework. So when you're starting off, there's a million ideas that you can do. You can go on Google, you can follow almost anybody on the internet, and you're going to find a boatload of ideas of what you should be doing on social media, how you should be doing your videos, how you should script everything. All of those things are at your fingertips. The problem is, where do I start? What do I pick? And when we start to try things and they're not working, that's where we kind of get into problems. So having a really simple, basic framework to start with, and then being able to build on that as you gain your confidence, as you get more ideas, as you try new things. But more importantly, you need an even simpler way of getting what you actually need, right? And that's what we're going to talk about today. So the framework, when you're thinking about your things that you're going to be putting out there, the framework for your content, it really comes down to core. So CORE. One is core, or sorry, C for conversions, right? We have to actually plan for our conversions. So a lot of times with blog posts or videos or, just different interviews that you're going to do, sometimes we kind of just half-ass it. We get an idea, it sounds great to us, it's something we know about, we go out and do it. And then we try and correlate that between, is anybody opting into my list? Is anybody buying my thing? We don't often plan our content for the conversion that we want to have. So what I usually do at the beginning of every month is I create a focus document. And it really helps me because lists and planning and systems are what I live for. So it really helps me to get really focused on what I want to really concentrate on. The way that I create content when I want people to just opt in for things is very different than when I want them to buy something. And this applies for my business. I do the same thing for all of my clients as well. Sometimes they don't even know that we're working in this framework, but it's exactly what we're doing. So C in the core method is just conversions. You need to plan for them. O is one thing, preferably once a week. You don't want to overcommit yourself. If you decide I'm going to do a live video every single day, it's exhausting. You're going to end up getting to the point where you have nothing else that you have time for. And that's the easiest thing to cut because it's the biggest stress in your day. If you can't commit to a weekly thing, a video, a blog, an audio, whatever you're going to do, then try bi-weekly. If you really can't get that, then you really have to consider whether or not you have the time to build this business. You can do it monthly, but what is going to get you the quickest results is doing something once a week. So one of my clients, we've tried to start simplifying his business, and he's focused now on selling his membership, getting opt-ins to one lead magnet that we have. He used to have a whole whack of them. Now we have one. And then he also has software that he sells. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is now we know what we've got to sell with him, so we can focus on what kind of content can we plan to do based on those conversions. And his one thing is now going to be doing weekly lives. His biggest concern is I'm going to start to teach the things that are in the stuff I want them to buy, leaving them with no reason to buy. So instead of creating brand new content for his weekly lives, as well as his weekly blog posts that go out, which are done as videos on YouTube and blog posts, we decided he's just going to show up every single week and start telling relevant stories. He's amazing on camera. He's got charisma out the ass. He does really well when people can see and hear him. So rather than stressing out and adding another layer of things that he has to do, said, can you just show up on Facebook and just tell a story? Just tell a meaningful story. Hopefully we can start to weave it into the membership for that particular month, but I just want you to start showing up. One of the problems that we have on Facebook, especially with him, he deals with restaurant owners, right? So as the options for who we can kind of post those Facebook ads to starts to dwindle, and makes it a little bit harder to find the right audience. And because restaurants in general just seem to be a really hot topic with COVID and everything else, it's really important that he shows up live and talks in a way that's going to bring the attention of his audience to him. Because then we know that anybody who shows up and watches those videos are people that are going to be relevant for him, right? So now we can take the viewers of that video and we can start to show them ads for the things he wants them to take part in. So getting them onto his list, getting them to buy their membership. Okay, so it's one thing once a week. Okay, the third thing in the method is repurposing. Now that's a whole big thing, and it can be as small or as big as you want. It can be as small as I'm going to go live on Facebook and I'm going to download it and I'm going to put it on YouTube, or I'm just going to embed it onto my blog, right? And it can go massive. I've seen people with mind maps just a mile long, because there is literally, it's limitless what you can actually do with your content. Now for me, everything starts with my Facebook Live, and the whole plan is to kind of spread out from there. So when you're doing your content repurposing, that's what you're thinking about. Your one thing once a week, and where are you going to do your different things? If you have less time, if you don't have a team behind you, if this is kind of your first getting into that consistency of showing up for your audience, start small, right? We don't need to be on every single platform. And not only that, you have to make sure that you know where your audience is in order to focus your time there. Because even if you are a massive company with a big ass team and money to spend, it's still worthless if you're showing up in places that don't matter, right? So at the end of this video, I'm going to be going into my group, the private group for brand soldiers, where I do an extra kind of deeper dive bonus training, continuing on from this. So in that one, I'm going to go into the entire kind of series of events of how I take all of my content and repurpose it. Now, for me, I put it on LinkedIn. I do a little bit more inside of Facebook in a couple of different spots, and also YouTube and my blog. But it fits into the whole system of how I create my content. So things are going into my speed bucket, things are getting chopped up over here. The important part is when you've got that system and a framework of do this, do this, do this, it only takes me maybe 30 to 40 minutes at the end of the day to take this one video that I'm doing here for you and spread it out everywhere that I need it to go and start to see engagement on the platforms that are important for me so that I can continue to grow that audience, right? So two things. Number one, if you want the show notes, the full notes from this one, so part of my content repurposing, we'll rewind, part of what I do is I create the video, the idea behind the video, and I create a blog post around that, which is not the exact same thing that I say in the video, just in text format. I create kind of an expanded version of it, and those go onto my blog. And all of those notes, along with bonus training and all of that, if you type in remind me, all one word, I will make sure that you get access to the show notes for this one, as well as the bonus training as well. Now, if you have anybody that you know could use the information that we're talking about today, because we're going to go a little bit deeper into how to actually do this. We're getting through like the over fundamentals of what this is going to look like, and then we're going to go deep dive into it, and I'm going to show you how I actually create my content super duper quick with Jarvis. But if you know somebody that could use this, if somebody is struggling with their content or is interested in just making more content or is complaining that there's not enough time in the day, please share this video with them so that they can learn from it as well. I want to make sure that anybody who needs this content is going to be able to actually get it. So remind me, all one word down below is going to get you access to all of the stuff around this one. And please comment, share, like, all of those things so that the people can get what they need. So we talked about the three portions of the basic framework, right? Conversions, planning for those ones, one thing once a week. We talked a little bit about repurposing. And then the last thing is engage. This one, it seems really simple and it seems like a no-brainer, and it is, but we learned a couple of weeks ago what happens when people do things that work. They often stop doing them for the next thing. They think, okay, I've got this. I've got those people commenting on things. I've got people showing up to my stuff. Now I'm going to go on to the next thing. We often forget. The other problem is we forget to engage, or we're almost afraid to engage when we're very small. So when you create an event and two people raise their hand to say that they're going, we often don't feel the need to follow up because it feels silly to us because it's only two people, but it's still two people that you could change their life with, or their business with, or their mindset, or even just their day or their moment with the content that you're creating. But these people have literally stood up and said, I want to know more about this. So why wouldn't you engage with them? We forget to do it when we get bigger, and we almost are too afraid to do it when we're small. So whether or not the comment is something that is recent, I'm doing a Facebook Live right now, I get a comment tomorrow, or it's somebody that finds my stuff in 2, 3, 6 months down the road and has a comment in there, I go back and I make sure that I'm engaging with every single one of them. I do that on my pages. I do it on my personal profiles. I do it inside of my groups. The people that show up and give me their attention have the right for my response. I look at it that way, but from an algorithm and a business standpoint, it just makes sense. We don't just have people show up and say stuff to us and comment and different things and just leave them hanging. Okay. So that's the core framework. Plan for your conversions, one thing once a week, repurpose and engage. Okay. Now, when you're repurposing, every time I talk about these ones, I get a question about some of them. So I'm going to explain the difference really quickly about them. I went into it deeper a couple of weeks ago when we first talked about the speed buckets, but that's the foundation for my social media. So the stuff that we're talking about right now is kind of our general content, that thing that we're going to be doing on a consistent basis. The speed buckets are more for my social content. So all of my social content, it's always going to be in two things, right? It's either timely, it's something that's happening right now, there's an affiliate launch, or I'm doing a launch, or anything like that, you know, a date sensitive kind of thing. And then there's the evergreen stuff. And the evergreen stuff is what is usually most difficult for people, which is surprising, which is why I use the speed buckets. So those are just 5 different categories of my social media. In my brain, it makes it a lot easier for me to understand what I need. And it gives you a far more balanced amount of content so that you're not constantly promoting. You're not constantly just asking questions. It gives them a bigger balance. Because remember, social media is all about human connection, right? And if you went to your friend and all they ever did was bitch about how sick they were or how sore they were, you get really tired of it really, really quickly. And the same kind of thing happens on social media. People show up to different platforms for different reasons. On Facebook, no one's showing up because they're looking for the next thing that they want to buy. No one's showing up for different reasons. A lot of times they're showing up because they're trying to connect with people. That's the purpose of the algorithm. And for anything else, you want to feed the algorithm, right? So remember, we talked about the social trifecta way back in like December, where it's all about you and your audience and feeding the algorithm what they want. On Facebook, they're all about connecting and connecting authentically. So if all I ever do is promote, or all I ever do is ask questions, that's not really authentic. It's not kind of conceived as normal. So the speed buckets gives you a more broad base of things. It gives you an idea of what you've got, and it allows me to visually see, do I actually have the right things going out to people? So those buckets, S is for showcase. So things like testimonials, things like I'll sometimes pull a little bit out from videos or little quotes or something like that that's going to showcase you as an expert, you as the thing you do, okay? The second one is promotion, so legit ass promotion, because too many people are constantly trying to just be really, really nice and give lots of free things away so that people interact with them, engage with them, and sign up. But then if that's all you ever do, the first time you ask for them to open up their wallet, they're going to be like, no, all you ever do is give me free stuff. That's what I want. So promotion is important. Now, if you don't have anything to sell, that's still okay, because promotion is also getting people to opt into your list, right? So for me, I actually have only 4 things in my promotion folder, and 2 of them are opt-ins, 2 of them are sales. So it's opt-in, sale, opt-in, sale. So again, it's still not constantly hitting people over the head with those promotions, right? The third one is personal. So again, human connection, right? That's what social media is about. That's what gets people drawn in and interested. So you have to show them some of the personal sides of things, right? We've got engagement ones. So asking those questions, those are strictly just meant to get people to type. So usually they're short and quick, they're easy, they're controversial sometimes, they're polarizing. But the whole reason is because we want to start to give get some feedback from people, get them to say stuff. It's great if they can like it. It's better if they share it. It's even better if they comment with things, right? And then directional, and this is the one that we always get a little bit confused on. So in the sales process, when you're thinking about sales in general, marketing in general, there's the thing you have to sell, and then there's all the stuff that comes before it. Okay, when you're creating that journey of people who find you and get interested in what you have to say and opt in and maybe buy a little product and a bigger product and a bigger product and start to really become those brand ambassadors, that whole journey is plotted out, whether you know it or not. And the directional bucket is really about, what do I need people to know about me, about the services or the products that I provide? What do they need to know to make it easier for them to take another step with me? Okay. I can show you guys after this video a little bit what I have in that one. Maybe we'll hop into my Social Champ account really quickly, and I can show you a couple of the posts that I have going in there. So when you're starting off with these ones, it's one of these once a day. In, I think it was last week's video, I did show you guys kind of the plan. So if you're just starting and you're not sure, and this again, frameworks, guys, it's not like set in stone. This is the one and only way to do it. But when you're not sure what you want to do, when you're not sure what to do, this is a great starting point to just get something out there consistently in a way that makes sense for the majority of people and for the algorithms, right? So you can build on this. So when you start getting more testimonials, maybe you don't want to stop putting your testimonials in your showcase and you want to have a separate testimonial folder. That's cool. It doesn't mean that you've broken the system, right? So we can show you some of those ones. What I want to do right now, and hopefully we can actually do it, is I'm going to do some screen sharing so I can actually show you how we actually do this. So let me bring up Facebook and just make sure that this is actually showing us the right thing, because I do want to actually show you. Yes, it is. Yay. Cool. Okay. I want to be able to show you Jarvis and some of the things that I actually do with things. So let me start by showing you this. So this is the document that I use, that I created just to kind of keep track of all of the Facebook Lives that I do. So I've got my dates in here, the topics, the actual title. So the topics are just the general ideas that I come up with when I do my monthly content, and I do that in my focus documents. The title is what Jarvis actually creates and the one that I actually choose. Every single one of them has its own Google document, and I've got layouts for those ones. This is what you're getting. So we'll talk about that one in a second. Each one has its own document so that I can go back and find all of the things that I need to know about that one. And it's got my blog stuff. It's got the links to the YouTube, to Facebook Lives. It's got, what else does it have in there? It looks just like this one. So these are all the things that I have. So these SEO keywords, sometimes I'll be honest, I'm not a keyword fanatic. I don't know much about it. I do a little bit on Keyword Planner, and I just find some keywords that I think are going to be appropriate for it. So then I've got my blog, my Facebook Live, and my YouTube URL. I've got the entire blog post that's going to go in there. I have Jarvis write all of the emails that are going to go in here. I create social media stuff that helps me get more information into my speed buckets. Then I also have Jarvis help me out with the video script. So what I have him do is I create the intro and the hook using Jarvis, and that gets me going. And then I just think about the things that are in my blog post and the things that I want to talk to you guys about. And I just put a couple of bullet points on there so that when I get on live, I'm not forgetting that, oh yeah, I want to talk about that one. So we have that one. And then, like I said, I go into the private Facebook group as well, and we go do a deeper dive of that one and have more content that's going to go in there. So I make sure that I have a couple of notes of what am I going to go deeper on. And then I have my chop and schedule. So this is all of the stuff that I'm going to put into my speed buckets again, where I'm going to put different things. So in LinkedIn, for example, you can go up to, I think it's 15 minutes for a video. So I'll find like a 1 or 2 minute video section that I can just chop on there, and I'll put the editing notes on here so I can remember to do that one. I get all of the planning stuff out of the way so that when I'm done, I can just go in and just doop, 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 and away it go. Okay, so this is the documents that I use. This is kind of my overall stuff. I've got monthly focus on there. Oh, we don't want to see that. Don't need that. So what we're going to do is kind of figure out how to use actually Jarvis. So I'm going to show you guys inside of my account. Now, this is something that I just came up with before this video. something, so this is the topics that I come up with, right? I generate the different ideas for what I may want to talk about that's going to lead to different conversions for things. And one of the ones that I came up with was just, you know, people always running out of ideas for the videos and the blog posts. Okay, so in terms of this one here, that's what this is for here. Let's see. So this topic would go right here. Okay, I would come up with the keywords, and I'm not going to worry too much about this. These are just post stuff, right? So I'm not going to worry about those ones. What I'm going to go and do is come down here and start to use Jarvis. So these are the kind of frameworks that I use inside of Jarvis, which we're going to go into now. So the first one that I do, somebody gave me a tip of video titles actually being a little bit better than just generating headlines. So on here, now this is just a basic level, and I'm pretty sure, guys, by the time I go into the content club, I think I'm going to actually upgrade to boss mode, because that was part of what I was able to access in my trial when I started doing this. And let me tell you, I did not think I was going to like Jarvis. And I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll do like a trial for it. I'll have like 10,000 words. I'll probably run out of words. I'm probably not going to like it. I had more than enough words, I created like 3 different entire Facebook Live content, blog post, emails, all of that kind of stuff. And I really actually loved it. There is a bit of a learning curve. So that's kind of the hardest part. They have boot camps, they have different things. And I'm going to be doing some more training on Jarvis just because I think it's freaking-tacular. So on this one, you're just creating your title. So all you're going to do is you're going to drop in what the video is about. So always running out of ideas, keyword to rank for. I'm not going to worry too much about that, but I'm going to just put social media video and tone of voice. So these ones, they don't actually have like a list of things that you can choose from, but you can see here they've got witty. You can put funny, you can put suspenseful, you can put mysterious. You can also put people. Now I've tried it both ways, and I often have a better result if I put people than if I put like a general tone of voice. So one of the ones that I've had really good luck with so far is Russell Brunson. If you're not familiar with him, just, yeah, he's a thing. So down here, you can change your outputs, right? So I would not go less than 3. And he's going to give you up to 3. And then all you're going to do is just click on generate outputs, and it's going to just put things together. So the thing to remember about these ones is sometimes you get something silly like this: how to achieve status, wealth, fame online with a social media personality, part 1 and part 2, right? That's not necessarily easy, necessarily easy to work with. You couldn't think of a third one. So the thing to remember with Jarvis is that, 1, he's not scraping content from anywhere. I think it was like 2019 when they were building all this. They just kind of sent them out there to kind of learn language. So everything that Jarvis does is based on like patterns. So a lot of times you are going to get, and maybe we'll get really lucky and he'll have something in here. You'll get really weird statistics or names of things. He knows that in a sentence, this is generally where somebody would put a statistic, but he doesn't have like real live statistics to choose from. So he's just going to put something there. It doesn't even matter. He's just going to grab some words and put a statistic there. So this is not about, I don't know anything about this and I need Jarvis to write something. You can, I guess, in a way, but you really have to be aware of kind of his limitations, which really aren't that much. So let's go on to some of the ones that are a little bit better. So how to come up with YouTube videos ideas fast, a simple trick. I mean, that's good. I could work with that. Here's how I find ideas for social media videos, 10 tips and tactics that'll get you more, that will get you more idea inspiration. So sometimes this grammar is a little funky. Advice: the one thing you can do every day to ensure you'll never run out of YouTube video ideas again. 9 ways. I mean, these are good. These are really good. So a lot of times what I do is it's not really necessarily perfect because I'm not really YouTube videos, and there's a certain kind of way I want to go with the actual video because there's a process that I use and I kind of want to direct it in there. But these are often great and good enough that between the three outputs that I've got, I can actually create my own text and headlines for those. So when you have boss mode, they actually have documents where you can kind of pull and do different things. So when we do the content club next month, you're going to be able to see how that works. But this is important because I think this is how most people are going to start off, so that you can see how it can be done even if you're not in boss mode. And I think that's super important. So when you come in here, you can copy just a portion of things, you can favorite it, you can copy it, you can do whatever you want to do. So for the sake of this one, I'm just going to go with this one. And I would just drop that into my blog post here, right? So that's going to be my title. So that's this part, okay? And then I'm going to create the actual intro. So one of the ones that I like best of all, go back to the templates. So I favorited the ones that I use. Now, again, these are my two favorite ones, and this is probably my all-time favorite one, the problem, agitate, solve one. And I love them because they're built on marketing ideas and standards. So you don't have to be super savvy all the time to know different things are going on. So when you think about this particular one, if I tell you what the problem that you're having is, you're going to be able to identify in that, right? You're going to be like, yeah, I totally see that. I feel the same way. I have that same problem, right? Then I agitate it a little bit. You make the person feel really, really horrible about that problem because we are masters of saying, yeah, I got a problem. It's no big deal though. We need people to feel the problem in order to do something. Nobody takes a step towards the solution unless the problem they're having is great enough, right? That's the thing. My son, when he was really young, sucked his thumb for years. I should have grabbed his kitty cat. He's almost 15. He's had this little kitty cat since before he was born, and it is ragged. It is the saddest little kitty that you have ever seen. But he would sit there at night and he would have his kitty cat and he'd have his thumb. And every time I went into the dentist office, I was like, hey, so wink, wink, how's Spencer's teeth? Because he sucks his thumb. And they were like, yeah, it's great. It's doing well. It's doing well. It wasn't until we finally went to go see an orthodontist that the doctor told him, you know what, Spencer? I just had an 18-year-old girl come in and she sucks her thumb too. She sucked it all the time. She didn't have a kitty, but she had a blanket that she used to use. And you're young enough right now that we could do just a little bit of work with just a appliance that goes in and out of your mouth and fix the problems that you're having, and you're going to be set for life. This girl waited so long that the only way to fix it is to actually have surgery. And my son was horrified. Now, keep in mind, at this point, I have tried bribery. I have tried hiding his cat. I have tried putting mittens on his hands. I have tried logic on a 5-year-old of the reasons why you shouldn't be sucking your thumb. None of them worked. But he knew it was a problem. As he grew up, his thumb sucking came from, being everywhere. He would never do it around other people. So it was still a problem, but it wasn't a big problem. He was starting to outgrow it, sort of. But despite all of the problems that he knew he had, it wasn't until the doctor agitated it to the point where the problem was so big that solution. We walked out of that place and my son has never sucked his thumb again. Never. 2 minutes with a doctor and he did better than 8 years of me begging this child to stop sucking his thumb and trying every trick under the book. And that's the power of the PAS framework as well. You need to create an awareness of the problem, and you need to agitate the problem in a way that you can get them to create the solution. So I love doing this one for blog posts as well. It also works really good for the introduction to the videos. So in this one, I think I talked about, so the problem was, that you need to have content. Agitating was, when you can't do all of these things, you start to get defeated, you start to lose hope, you undermine your confidence, right? That's the agitate. And then the solution was all you just need is just a simple framework and a simpler way of getting it done, right? So that's the same kind of thing here. So in this one, it says company and product name. That's okay. We're just going to put social media videos. And then the product description. So this is, now what I've learned about this too, if you can, I don't know if you guys can see this really well. On the regular account, you get 400 characters that you can input in here. In the boss mode, it'll read more content to do. What I've learned is the more stuff that I put in here, the crazier Jarvis can get. Like, so you can see like they've got just this this one kind of input example here, and you kind of want to aim for less. So sometimes when you put more information in there, Jarvis actually starts to repeat himself because again, he's looking for patterns. So if he's watching you repeat a bunch of stuff, it's gonna be like, cool, I can do that. And he's gonna repeat, right? Jarvis is smart, but sometimes he's a little too smart for his own good. So social media videos. So how to find great ideas for your social media videos every single week. Even, so what I wouldn't want to do is put, even if you can't come up with great ideas, right? Even if you don't know what to talk about. We'll keep it with Russell Brunson and we'll do generate on here. Now, sometimes I do have to do these a couple of times to get something that's really, really good from him. They do have, we'll show you when they have the outputs. So they have thumbs up, thumbs down on here as well. And you can have those ones. So you can see in here, right, he starts going off in a different direction. Finding great content for social media videos is hard. Not really, because I don't want to talk about socials, you know, stock photos or anything like that. Now, here's something that I do find. Even if this is like a really crap one, I can tell as soon as I looked at the problem that this is not the content that I want, Jarvis. But he does have history, and I'll show you this in a second. Sometimes he has really good words for things that I want to use, or really good, sometimes it even gives me ideas for other things. So I don't discount anything that Jarvis gives me just because it's not what I want right now. So the nice thing is, let's see if any of these are good actually. You know, the best way to connect with your audience. Okay, so this might work. So most people, so here's your problem, right? Social media is the best way to connect with your audience, which we know, but you're struggling to find great ideas for your videos. Agitate. Most people only post one video per week on their social media channels, and they wonder why they don't get more engagement. If you want better results from your content marketing efforts, it's time to step up your game by posting multiple times a week. Now, keep in mind, Jarvis isn't saying that this is what you should be doing. So you wouldn't want to just take this and just be like, again, if you don't know what you're talking about, this can become a problem. You're going to have to do your own due diligence and figure out what the good stuff actually is, because you're not going to want to just take this and say, oh, well, you know, you should be posting it 20 times a day. Because now I personally, there's other people out there that might feel differently. I personally do not believe this is the right thing. However, I could change this so that it said something more like, most people only post one video every once in a while, or something about them being sporadic, and then wonder why they don't get more engagement. If you want to get better results from your content marketing efforts, it's time to step up your game and post at least once a week using the core method, right? So that can work, even though it's not the exact words. A lot of times, if I can, once you learn how to do the inputs, and you'll see really, really quickly how you can change things and tweak things and get the right way of going. And boss mode helps much more than that. So when we do the content club next month, you're going to be like super amazed at how even further easier this gets. And then the solution, we've all done the hard work for you, so you can easily create 6 to 7 high quality videos every week. So this is not good, because what I would be talking, I'm not creating templates or anything like that for anybody, right? But I can use this kind of stuff. What ends up happening with Jarvis is I find he gets me like 75, 80% of the way there, and then I just take over. Now, I have a lot to say about a lot of things. I don't usually have a problem coming up with ways to talk. I always loved writing essays. I get super excited when the kids come home with essays because I like writing them. So I never have a problem with that part. I just need him to start and give me the framework. So with our companies, right? So we have a copywriter on our team, and even if the copy is, let's say it's you're going to get three things. It's hit it out of the park. It's perfect. Keep it just the way it is. Or you know what? It's okay. It's a start, but I'm going to edit it. Or it's super crap, right? Like this is not at all what I wanted. Even if we get all three of those, it's still a starting point. It's still better than staring at a blank screen where you have no idea what to talk about, no idea what to say, no idea how to go about it, right? And that's part of the reason why, one, I like Jarvis, and two, I like the business blueprints that are inside of the Content Club, because it gives you exactly what to put. So instead of struggling, like, I don't know how to connect all my ideas together, I don't know what should go into my blog post, there's like a step-by-step of, here, you're going to start with like your introduction. You're going to start with your PAS framework. You're going to do an outline. You're going to do a conclusion, and you're going to do a call to action, right? I like having those things in there because then it gives you that basic framework. You have the basic words from Jarvis and you're just off to the running. And that's between those two things. That's why I can create an entire month's worth of content in like 4 hours, right? And that's a whole other story, because there is blog posts, there's video script notes, right? We looked at these ones here. So, you know, when I think of my content is done for the month, it's coming up with the ideas for it, coming up with the entire blog post. It's coming up with all of the emails that go out to my list. It is coming up with extra social media posts that I can do. So one-off things. I'm trying to get to the point of teasing the upcoming video. I'd like to say I have time, but right now I don't. All of my clients are in like launch mode, and it's just sucking up all of my time. So I have no time to actually create it, but I still create the social media engagement questions every single week, because those are different prompts that I can use to create other things down the road as well. And then the script notes, like I said, have Jarvis create the introduction as well as the hook for it. And I usually have him create like a new title that's going to go onto the thumbnail or something like that. And the extra stuff that I'm going to need for the chop and schedule. So all of those times 4 is what I can create. And then because I have my own little SOP, my own framework of here's how you do everything, now go in Canva and create, you know, I need a Facebook Live image, I need a LinkedIn image, I have all of these step-by-steps. So I get everything set up and created in a very, very short amount of time. And honestly, if I didn't have Jarvis, I wouldn't be able to do any of it. So let's go back down to this one. So none of these bottom ones, the solution part is going to be good, but that's okay. I'm just going to take these guys. Oh no. I'm just going to take these guys and I'm going to drop them in here. So when I'm creating with Jarvis, I'm usually not writing right now. All I'm doing is just dropping a bunch of stuff in there, right? And then we'll have to come up with a solution. So in this case, I would probably just go back into Jarvis and I would update on maybe the information that I have in here, or honestly, if the solution is the thing that I'm really talking about. So that part is the easiest thing to do. So I'll just pull a little bit of words, a little bit of ideas and phrasing from the outputs that Jarvis has given me and go in that way. So I want to show you this part too. So over here, we've got the new inputs, but we've also got all of the history too. So I can go back and say, show me the stuff that we were talking about before, right? So back here, these are some of the things that I pulled out for the video today, next week's video, as well as the Content Club, right? And again, it's not a course that I'm talking about, but this part was the part that we were working on, right? So who are struggling with content marketing by teaching them the psychology of copywriting, right? Pulling different things from those things, but all of your history is all in here too. So if you come back and you're like, oh my gosh, I need more stuff, right? This is what you can actually start to go back and pull from, okay? So we've got our blog post. We came up with the problem, agitate, solution, which is going to be the introduction to all of this stuff. Now I want to create bullet points. So in here, we have another template. So there's two that I actually like. Blog post outline is one that I use. The other one is the persuasive bullet points. I will use sometimes a combination of both of those ones. But for the easiest thing, I just kind of pull in here. The thing that you need here is we're just needing the title, just the title. Now you can see it only comes up to 80 characters. So I often change these ones to, let's go back here, it'll be a little easier. So 10, I don't even care about the 10. Tips to get, oh, we don't need capitals, darn. Tips to get more ideas for social media videos. So it's not the exact tips on. It's not the exact title that I'm using. I don't really care about that. I just need to give Jarvis just enough to work with. So in this case, the last one that I did was Brian Dice on this one. So choose people that you actually, so keep in mind, he's not going to be like, oh, Ryan Dice would say this about this. He's going to look back and see if he has any content from Ryan Dice, and he's going to see what he talks about. Does he always have short, choppy sentences? Is this what would be considered humorous, right? So you need to keep that in mind. Don't come in with the expectation that you're going to put in like 5 words and get something that's like that Oprah Winfrey would say, because that's not really how it's done, right? So in this case, so he's given me the same thing twice. So in this case, I'm actually just going to put that one. So they are actually pretty good about refunding your credits back. Every word that you use is one of your credits, right? So on the free trial, you get like 10,000. On the base plan, I think there's, oh gosh, I don't even know. Is it 10? Is it 20? I'm not really sure. So my plan credits, yeah, so 20,000. It goes a long way, but if you're being silly with your stuff, it can get really crazy really quickly. That's why I start with 3, because 3 I find is enough that when he does something super, super goofy and doesn't give me what I need, like this one, I can't use any of that stuff, right? So let's try how to get more ideas for your, let's just put YouTube video. Let's see what we get. Oh, Jarvis, you're just being silly today. The other thing too, guys, is if you're in history and you hit generate, it's not going to go back to new output. So when I first started doing this, I learned about the history button, and I was over there looking at something because I wanted to find some words that I had recently created using Jarvis, and came back and went to go find them. And I was like, okay, grabbed what I needed, went to go do the next thing, and I hit generate, and it generated 3 things. And I'm like, where is it? It's not changing. And I hit generate again, thinking it didn't do it. I did it 4 times before I realized that I was on history. And then I had like 12 different outputs from Jarvis inside my new output. So don't be like me in doing that kind of thing. So Jarvis, you just don't like this one. Let's see. Find more inspiration ideas for topics. That is not going to work. What did we have as our original blog post? How I find more ideas. Maybe we can just do this. See if Jarvis is going to use this. Ideas and inspiration. Okay, Jarvis, don't make me look silly. Jarvis, you're just not doing very good. Okay, so normally in boss mode, here's what I like about boss mode. You can actually command Jarvis to continue writing. So it's like working in a document just like this, but Jarvis would put all of these here. And what I found most useful is in situations like this where I couldn't quite figure out how to get Jarvis to go in the direction that I wanted him to go in, is I would take, because again, I know what I'm talking about. I have the ideas for what I'm going to do on there, the general things. I would actually write the first bullet point, and then I can command Jarvis to continue writing a paragraph based on number 1 above. Okay, so when we do the content club next month, you guys will be able to see how to do that. Okay, so for this, sake of our video, we're just going to drop this in, because this is all about just seeing what he can do, as opposed to like creating the actual perfect stinking blog post. This is not one that we're going to be doing. So the call to action and the conclusion at the end. So you guys can do the conclusions, and they do have a blog post conclusion paragraph. So some of the things that they've had on here, these ones were more about marketing. Actually, this was some of the stuff that we came up with for the vault. So the input was, putting all your focus into creating one piece of amazing content that builds your social media around that. By reusing parts of your videos in other ways, your marketing will be simplified, easier to execute and maintain, and your marketing will be more cohesive. That's like the summarization of this entire stinking thing, right? And then here's the conclusions that he came up with. So if you like conclusion statements, they're really good if they're super, super long video or super long blog posts. Honestly, I don't know that I'm a super fan of them personally. There's nothing wrong with them. I just don't really like the formality of them. I don't speak that way. I don't. And in conclusion, even sometimes when we go in the videos and I recap stuff, it feels super stinking weird. And a lot of times I do it just to make sure I remember where in the heck I was. So if conclusion paragraphs are your thing and you want to be able to round everything out and sound a little bit more professional, you can use these ones. I've had really good luck with them. I also sometimes will use these in different areas. So this is where Jarvis gets super quick and easy, and why I like the business blueprints that are in the content club, because these kind of things I will actually use for emails and social media and descriptions and things like that. And I'll actually put all of that stuff in different places within there. Okay, so let me show you a couple other quick little things in here for the templates. So one of the ones, we didn't talk about the video script, but again, these guys, all of these things work the same way. So you put the title that you came up with inside of Jarvis, you give them a tone of voice, and then these things. So these are actually ones that I did, I think these ones for this blog post. How do you stand out in a competitive market in a world of 7 billion people? You can find your voice and make it heard. It's not easy. This video is going to show you the steps to take. I'm going to walk you through what personal branding is and why it's important for business success. You'll also learn about different social media platforms that are available for personal branding, as well as some tips to get started and building your online presence. I mean, these are pretty good, guys, right? Like, for an AI that's just going to spit that out based on use personal branding to differentiate yourself because you can't be duplicated. Oh, I know what that one was from. Last week's video, I pulled out, or 2 weeks video, I pulled out like a 1-minute section to put onto LinkedIn. And I didn't want to use any of the content that I already had because it was a very specific portion of the video that I did. And this was the content that he came up. So I used this one as my description, as my content, as the post when I put it into LinkedIn for that 1-minute little section. That's what it was. But the point here that I want you guys to see is that Jarvis is super simple to use. The amount of stuff that they have in here. So engaging questions, this is the one that I use at the end when I'm coming up with like social media stuff to post. It's super awesome. They even have one, explain it to a child. Like, I just love it. Sometimes you just need your stuff to be a little bit more. They have sentence expander. I've worked in these ones. I'm not sure that I love these ones yet. No, it wasn't that one that I've used. Some of them I just find are just better than others. Like, I really like the video titles. The other one that they have, you can use the email subject lines as well. I just haven't found those to be a perfect headline. I haven't found them to be my favorite things yet. So I've been playing around with a lot of them. And you can see at the bottom too how often they're updating kind of Jarvis's brain and the way that they're pulling all of these things together, right? But there's just so many things you can do in here, especially when you get reviews and you don't know how to, like, you know, do all of those things, right? So you've got, you can actually post in the customer's review, and then you give them the star rating, right? So Jarvis is going to recognize whether or not this was like somebody who's like kind of pissy with you or whatever. Put the name in, and it's going to spit out a response of how you can deal with those kind of things. I tell you guys, every time I come in here, there's something new that I'm learning. There's something that I'm able to figure out and see different things. I just think it is, I haven't even seen some of these things. Business name product is not my favorite. I just don't know how to use that one yet, guys. But I tried to find a name for the content club, and everything that it came up with was content club. Dawn's content club. So it was not necessarily my favorite. But I did want to make sure that I went through all of Jarvis just to show you how you can use the frameworks that are in here, as well as just kind of like a step-by-step to create the content that you need really, really quickly. Now, obviously, this went a little bit longer because we didn't have, you know, we stopped and talked, we showed you this, show you that. When I'm doing this on my own, it goes a lot quicker, which you guys will see in the content club as well. So let me stop sharing this and go back to the real video. So I know this one went on way longer than we normally do, but I wanted to make sure that you guys have the foundations of what we had to know in order to go into Jarvis, so you can see the, not only just the power of it on its own, but how easily it creates the content that you're going to need to get your content up, your blog posts, your videos, all of those kind of things. I'm going to be heading into the Facebook group next and going into the full setup of here's how I go through from figuring out the idea that I'm going to start with right down to the final bits of repurposing. If you guys want that content, you can just put remind me, all one word, down below, and I'll make sure that you get access to everything you need. Now, you also heard me talking about the content club. That is something new that I'm going to be starting next month, because if you read one of my show notes from the other week, there was all of these different, I love psychology. And I found one article about, it's like for years, decades and decades and decades ago. And they were looking at what happens when we're kind of almost competing against each other. So let me explain. He was noticing that cyclists, when they were racing against each other or just riding together, were performing faster than if they were just trying to beat their own time. So he brought it back into his lab, and he wanted to be able to duplicate that, see whether or not this was actually true. So he gathered up all these kids and brought them in and said, you know, I want you just to wind this fishing lure or the fishing line as quickly as you can. And he lined them all up. And some of the kids were just single kids, right? You're just going to be over here all by yourself. There's nobody else that he knows of that's going to be there, and time him and time him and time him. And then a couple of them, he grouped the kids together. So 2 kids side by side, but you're still both individually working on it, right? The kids that were grouped together found that they were more productive. They were more aware of what they were doing and tried to do better just by the fact that they had somebody else next to them. And oh, we got little Blue Bear back there. You see him? It had nothing to do with the race. He wasn't telling be the fastest person. It's just, I just want you to wind this up. And the fact that we have somebody next to us doing the same thing increases our focus and our productivity. So they've done study after study after study about this. So I thought, oh my gosh, if all of these people are having problems, and I don't ever want to run into a position where I find that my content creation is going to be the last thing on my list. So why don't we create this like little fun content club party kind of thing where we basically just show up and write our content. And I didn't want to just have something where we just literally show up and everybody's on the screen and that's that. What I really, really wanted was to give you some of the basic training. So I've done some of the training for Jarvis. We're going to do more as I have time and build it all out. And then I should have stopped, I did not need to stop sharing my screen. I want to show you one other thing. I also created, is this going to show the right thing? Let's see. This is a workbook that's going to go through. So some of the stuff that we talked about today, yes, it is showing. Okay, cool. So these are the monthly workbooks that we're going to get every single month to just kind of keep us focused and on schedule. So I'm pretty happy with all of these things. This is like first time kind of people that are coming in here. This is what we talked about today, right? Like just your basics, like what day is your thing going to be going out, all of that kind of stuff. We've got all of the training that's going to be in here, how to get extra support, all of the tools you're going to need. This is a schedule. So for people like me who like to know when things are going to be happening, so here's when you need to start your focus. Here's when you need to do this. This is the day we're going to be going live. This is the day you should be checking for your link. All of those kind of things are in there. The Take 20 is really just a way of getting you set up for the entire month. So here's the things you need to do in order to get ready. Your monthly prep. So we talked about today, right? Like, what are you selling focus for the month, right? Like, and then being aware of all the things that are going around so that you're not overcommitting to things that you don't have. Brainstorming your ideas based on that. And you can use this in combination with the training that I'm going to do for the monthly prep to have a better idea of what to actually put in there. This is the standard operating procedures. This is the bare basics of things. Part of what I'm going to be going over in the Facebook group next. A blank calendar in case you want to create your own stuff. This is where you can put your speed content because every video that you do increases the amount of stuff that's going to go into your speed. So you've got 4 or 5 different weeks in the month. These are your buckets down on the side. So based on weeks one's video or blog post, what can you put in for your showcase, your promotion, your personal, what can you add to all of those things? Goal tracking, what are those goals going to be? What's going to be working well? And then a place to actually track all your stuff. So it's not just like, hey, just show up and do your stuff. That is definitely a big part of it because we need that factor, that thing of knowing that there's at least one other person that's doing the same thing as me. And our goal at the end of this 2 hours is to have our content created, right? That's our big goal. And it gives you the ability to get the help when you need it, right? So nothing worse than when you're going through something and you're like, oh my God, this isn't working. Jarvis is broken. He's not doing anything. What do I do? Then I'm still right there for you and I can help you out as we're going and you don't have to wait. There's also a Facebook group that you guys can get into as well. So if you want more information on that, it's going to be like super stinking cheap. It's going to be like $17 a month. It's going to go up though once all of the training is done. So right now there's a couple little trainings in there. Those trainings are going to go a little bit higher. Oh, you know what else isn't even in there that I haven't told you about is the business blueprint. So I'm building out all of these business blueprints. So you saw when we went through with the blog post, right? So you need this introductory section at the top. You need your blog post outline. You need the conclusion. You need the call to action. So the blog post, the business blueprints are different things like your blog post, your videos, your sales pages even, because I love sales pages, and your emails, all of those things so that you can use that in combination with Jarvis to now you've got Jarvis writing the content for you. You've got a system for creating all of your ideas. Now you're going to have this business blueprint that you can also use to say, okay, I need to do this first. I need to do this second. And you're going to be able to match that up with Jarvis's templates and put in the right information. So that's pretty exciting too. I haven't finished those ones yet. But I'm really, really excited to show you guys those ones too. So once all of this stuff is done, once all of the blueprints are done, once all of the training is done, and it'll probably take me about a month to get it all done, then I'm going to raise the price, I think, just by a little bit. It's not going to be like $100 a month. It's going to be ridiculous because it's not that. I want to make sure that it's going to be affordable, and I have to be there anyway. I have to be there to create my own content. And I just think having that community of people to do the same thing and use and bounce ideas off of and get the help immediately when you need it and to have something to focus on, knowing exactly what you have to do, exactly what you're going to do is going to make sure that you have your content ready to go. You should be able to leave that call, depending on how many things you're going to do. You should be able to leave that call at the end of 2 hours with the majority of your content ready to go for the following month. Just saying, it's going to be freaking goddamn amazing. So thank you guys so much for being here. Remember, if this was helpful in any way, please comment, like, share with your friends on your pages. I want more people to be able to use Jarvis and get more things done. It's just the easiest way to see the satisfaction and engagement and the results in your business is to get yourself out there. And this is one of the easiest ways that you guys can do it. So thank you so much for being here with me. I've had a blast. Zoom actually worked. So I'm really, really happy about that, except my camera keeps going out. And we have Blue Bear in the background. Maybe one day we'll clean up the background of my office. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. I will see you all next week.